school, and there are many, many allies in the call to end gun violence and ensure safer schools for kids. We're also here to say that while school shootings are, thankfully, rare in Canada, we do also need to do the work to ensure safe and caring schools right here in Stockholm. We stand with the survivors of Canadian school shootings, like the students at La Loche, Dawson College, C.W. Jeffries, W. Myers School, and many more schools. And we remember those students who were killed, including right here in Alberta, Tabor student Jason Lang. No child should ever go to school and not come home again. While gun violence is more rare in Canada, we cannot ignore it. It's easy to look south and assume that because we have fewer mass shootings, we do not need to consider violence right here at home. Statistics from Ontario show that almost every day in that province, a child or youth is killed or injured by a firearm. While most of those incidents are accidents, in about a quarter of those cases, the shootings are intentional. The victims of violent assaults are most likely to be young people of color, immigrant and refugee children living in low-income urban areas, and as in so many situations, poor and racialized children are at the highest risk of becoming victims of violence. And Ontario is not alone. While overall crime rates in Canada continue to decline, gun violence has continued to rise, including right here in the city of Edmonton. As adolescent health specialist Dr. Catherine Austin notes, having a lower rate of gun violence than the US is kind of like being shorter than Wilt Chamberlain. It is not hard to have fewer deaths than a country that is such a significant outlier, but we still have more shootings here in Canada than in many comparable countries. We rank 5th out of the 22 high-income OECD countries for firearms deaths. We still have work to do. It remains to be seen whether proposed new federal legislation will bring down those rates, more extensive background checks, better licensing and record keeping. These are important interventions in reducing gun violence. They won't prevent every gun death, but inaction is not the answer. According to the Canadian Pediatric Society, right now for males aged 15 to 24, guns are a cause of death at a rate higher than cancer or than fires, falls, and drownings combined. And while suicide is a factor in that, homicide is the leading cause of firearm death for youth. I also want to speak to the need for schools here in Canada to continue to work to address violence and bullying in our schools. While it's harder for a Canadian to acquire the kind of gun that's usually used in a mass shooting, we need to be aware that violence is not only committed with guns in schools. Whether school violence is committed with a gun or another weapon or no weapon at all, we need to continue to take action to ensure students are safe. Students are telling us that violence, bullying, and mental health are areas of need, and as school leaders, we need to listen. We also need to be attentive to the factors that create safer schools. Building strong and supportive school communities, ensuring there are safe and caring adults for students to turn to when something's not right, reducing the impacts of poverty and addressing issues like racism, misogyny, homophobia, and other factors that feed into violence, and we need to support students' voice and agency in building healthier schools for themselves. And let me emphasize that last piece again. Students see what is happening in their schools, and they are speaking out and taking the lead on making change. Our students are powerful leaders in creating safe and caring schools. Students led the fight in Alberta for access to GSAs. Students created Pink Shirt Day to speak up against bullying, and students are speaking up here today and around the world. The reason that March for Our Lives is so powerful is that it's not led by people like me. It's led by people like Abby. It's led by students like the ones at Victoria School who walked out last week in solidarity with the U.S. walkouts, and by many young people like the ones I see here today. We're here as your allies in this fight, to end gun violence and all violence in our schools and in our lives. As Parkland survivor David Hogg said recently, you will outlive us. This is for your lives and for your future, but it is also no longer enough for us to say that we need a safer future for youth. We need to take action on violence right now. Youth deserve a safe present. Young people cannot and should not have to wait for a safer world. And so I'm here to stand with you today to say, enough is enough.